Hi, this is Laura from LiveVisions.com, and I just want to make sure that this is working here. Hold on one second. Let me see. Yeah, it is. Okay. I just wanted to make sure my volume was working because last time it wasn't. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about difficult relationships in astrology, right? And how to pinpoint them in your chart and know maybe where it is that you need to work on to overcome this, because it's not it's not like something that you're doomed. Okay, I just want you to know you're not doomed. Okay, so what I would suggest is go to astro.com and look at where your placements are, right? Look at the aspects to these planets that I'm talking about, especially Venus. And we're going to talk a little bit about, you can go to my website too. Go to the students only section in the middle. There's an astrology calculator. You can look there too. But you just want to know if where your Venus is, basically, if it has some harsh placements, okay? And I can talk to you a little bit about what these placements mean for you to kind of overcome what's going on and move past some of the difficult placements, okay? So let's look. First off, we're going to look at certain things that, first of all, Virgo rising can be a difficult placement. How many of you are Virgo rising and you're feeling like, wow, I just feel doomed in relationships? I don't understand why. Because Virgo can be an analytical and detail oriented sign, right? And a lot of you guys, I want to fix, I want to save, I want to help, I want to fix all the problems, and I'm trying my best and it's not working, right? Some of you may be feeling. Now, you're not doomed, okay? Your whole life, you're going to get people who need help in some way attracted to you or drawn to you, right? And that's okay. Wherever you have Pisces, you serve or suffer, okay? And unfortunately, you're serving in the seventh house. You're meant to be of service to a partner in some way, shape, or form, but it doesn't mean you have to be a doormat, okay? And I'm going to explain. Virgo rising people, Pisces in the seventh house is very difficult placement because you can attract people who can be science projects, okay? Meaning, Virgo loves to fix, help, and save by nature, Virgo rising. Seventh house Pisces can bring people who are very spiritual and creative, and that's really what you want to go for, spiritual, creative types, right? But sometimes it can bring you people who are spiritual, creative, but they also can be addicted, right? Either they're drugs or alcohol, because Pisces also rules pharmaceuticals. It's water sign, so it also rules liquids, right? So somebody could have a drinking problem or a drug problem. Pisces also rules things that are confusing, illusion, delusion, and deception in the seventh house. Maybe you feel like someone's taking your kindness for weakness or what's going on. And I always tell, my Virgo rising people this: use your discernment, your natural born gift of discernment, to decide whether this person has a place in your life or not. In other words, I know I'm being called to be of service to a partner, okay? But is this person taking my kindness for weakness, and am I keeping myself stuck in an enabling rut with this other person? And finding this out, you have to say to yourself, is this person in their predicament because they just want to stay stuck? They just want to stay where they are. They don't want to change. You can't tell them, but they need you, your help all the time. And this can be causing enabling tendencies within yourself that you need to stay away from. Are you enabling them to stay on drugs? Are you giving them a place to live all the time? Are you giving them money, right? Every time they get in trouble, do you bail them out? This is the stuff you want to look at, okay? Okay. So you also want to, I always say to myself, okay, is this person in detriment in a bad way because they keep putting themselves there, right? So I'm going to give you an example. I always use the example of the guy who lives at home with his mom, right? Is he living at home with his mother because, he is getting divorced and he's getting his house built and it's not ready yet? That's a guy in a bad way for a little while. He's not keeping himself there, and he did nothing really wrong to put himself there, right? versus the guy who lives with his mother because she cooks and cleans for him. He can't hold down a job, and he's got a chemical dependency that he doesn't want to get help for. There's a huge difference, right? There's a huge difference. So you have to decide and use your discernment who you're going to give help here. In other words, yeah, I don't mind being of service as long as my kindness isn't being taken for granted. Kindness isn't being taken for weakness, right? As long as this person actually wants to help themselves to improve. If not, you're in the relationship with yourself. Because if this person has no intention of changing, no intention of improving themselves, I'm going to stay stuck. I'm going to drink. I'm going to do whatever drugs they're on, whatever it is. And I'm going to constantly ask you for money or help. No, all you're doing is enabling them to live in a way that's not healthy for either of you, right? And it's never going to give you the relationship where if you need to lean on this other person, you have no one to lean on because really you're holding that relationship 100% on your own. You're dealing with an unwilling participant. Okay, one-way street sign, their way. If it's not their way, in their addicted way or whatever it is, then, and again, Pisces here doesn't always have to be drugs or alcohol. It could just be deception. Somebody just lies all the time, right? Somebody's just not honest. And, you can't, that's a character flaw. It's like, wow, this person wouldn't know the truth if it hit them in the head. They can't tell the truth ever. That's a problem. So realizing these things and saying, okay, and I have clients who will go ring around the rosy with someone, right? And they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with somebody and expecting different results. Because a lot of times Virgo is very analytical and detail oriented and will say, well, let me try this and fix it. Well, oh, you know what? That didn't. Let me try this. Let me try this. And you're realizing you're doing all the trying. What are they doing? Nothing. They're sitting there like a rock, not wanting to do anything. So it's up to you to say, okay, that song, no one to hold them, no one to fold them, no one to walk, no one to run. You got to know when to run, Virgo, because sometimes you got to just drop your cards and say, okay, game over. I'm done. I don't want to be on the merry-go-round no more. Right? And that is when things will start to shift for you. You're going to get somebody into your life, and you may be tested a little bit too along the way with another person who's got issues, a science project, so to speak, and another person until you tell the universe, nope. But remember, you're always going to be called to service with a partner, because wherever you have Pisces, whatever house Pisces is in, you will serve or suffer. So you're going to be called to be of service. So maybe you fall in love with a guy, who needs help in other ways. Maybe it's a single dad. Maybe he's a widower. He's got kids and he's like just not really great at dating. And he really, really could use a partner in his life and maybe a mom for his kids. That's kind of nice, right? It's just a nice guy who's just looking for somebody. Or maybe it's a partner who maybe they had an accident and all of a sudden, they're on crutches for a while or something, they're needing some of your help sometimes. And, maybe you're the nurse who takes care of them. And all of a sudden this guy's, a good person, not every time is it going to be a person who is somebody who is stuck in their life and doesn't want to help. And I'm going to stay stuck. And unless you enable me, I'm going to hate you forever. Some of these people, when they're stuck in their addiction, especially, they don't want your help. I mean, they do want your help, but not to get clean, not to get sober. And if that's the case, then you need to walk away. All right. On to the next difficult thing is Leo rising. Leo rising, you guys could get into a relationship with somebody, who could be rather detached, which can be a little difficult. I'm going to give you a tip here. All right. If you are a Leo rising, your relationship, you're going to be attracted to somebody who is very independent, right? Does their own thing, doesn't give a shit what anybody else says or does. I am me, you are you, wonderful. If you can't accept me, oh well, sorry to see you go. This person could be super detached at times, and they can have that I could take you or leave you attitude, which can be a little hurtful, right? This person can be a humanitarian. They can be the I love my friends type of person, right? I want to have equality for everyone. I'll fight for equality for others, right? Aquarians are usually not about the me, but they're about the we, right? But a lot of times they need their own space in certain situations. So I'm going to give you this. You or your person, because the 7th house is looking at you as a person, and it's also your partner house. So you or your person may need some amount of freedom here. And 7th house can be an unconventional relationship, okay? Unconventional meaning, maybe you don't want to get the piece of paper and get married, right? Maybe this is the situation where, I need my own house. I have a difficult time living with the person, but I want to see you a lot. So let's have our own houses down the street from each other. And I'll see you some days, you see me some days, whatever. It could be unconventional like that, or we just don't need that piece of paper to get married, right? Kind of situation. That is unconventional, right? So there's an element of unconventionality with the relationship. And maybe this is just maybe you both have careers, right? And you're like, yeah, we see each other 4 days a week or whatever. And we're married. And it works for you. There's an element of it's unconventional, but maybe it works. Now, I'm going to tell you, anybody who tries to possess you, like be a Klingon, right up your ass like Velcro, this is not going to work. You're going to have maybe a lot of makeup, breakup, because Aquarius can bring a lot of ups and downs in the 7th house of partnership for you. There could be a lot of, we're on, we're off, we're on, we're off. Now, the best way to handle this is make sure that you have trust with that partner, major trust. Make sure you know that this person or yourself is very independent, right? And you're not looking to own or possess that person. You're allowing them to be who they are and do their own thing. And you come together when you come together. It's an unconventional type of thing. But when you start understanding that this other person needs a certain amount of freedom in the relationship, things will get better. Right? And you're accepting of it. And it reminds me, this relationship reminds me of like 2 actors or 2 celebrities who get together, like you're traveling around and your partner, has a certain amount of freedom because maybe you're away a lot or maybe they're away a lot. Right. So there's that element of, hey, I want you in my life. I do need space. But the energy they can give off at times, I just want you to know, Leo risings, the energy they can give off sometimes is, well, let's say you tell them, I don't know if I want this much space from you. I want to see you more. And maybe your 7th house partnership the partner is saying to you, well, that's kind of what I can do right now. I don't know, so if it doesn't work for you, okay, well, it was nice knowing you. They can give you I can take you or leave you attitude, which could be rather hurtful. There's an element of feeling emotionally a bit detached here, which can be upsetting. So just know, I wouldn't take it personal, but this is exactly how the person may do relationships. Like, I'm just not looking to change you as a person. That could be their whole energy. I'm not looking to change you as a person. And if it's not working, I'm coming to the realization that if I'm not right for you or you're not right for me, then, it's okay. We could still be friends, but okay. And that's another thing. They need friendship. You may be involved with a person who needs to be a friend first, right? The relationship may start out a bit awkward sometimes, right? Because Aquarius can bring awkwardness in the beginning of a relationship, but it's most long lasting when it starts out as a friend. Okay. All right. Venus aspects to, Chiron. So if you have Venus aspecting Chiron, Chiron is the wounded healer in astrology. And I didn't have the glyph for the symbol to add here, but it looks like a key, like a little key. That's kind of the symbol. Anyway, and I tried to include the glyphs here so you guys could see the glyphs. So the glyphs are the symbol. Like the symbol for Venus looks like a person, like a stickman person. I tried to include them so when you're looking at your symbols online that you could see exactly. All right. And so anyway, so Venus aspecting Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the wounds we use in our life that feel like open wounds. And we use those wounds to help heal other people, right? So you want to look at the house and the sign Chiron is in. But let's say that you have Venus, I don't know if it's conjuncting Chiron, especially opposing, squaring, that could be more difficult, sextiling, any kind of an aspect to Chiron. You may feel like you're really wounded by a partner in this life. Okay, you already came into this life with this aspect, right? Or you're wounded by, and it doesn't always mean Venus is love, okay? But it's also money. You could be wounded by something financial that hurts you in a deep way in some way, but you may use these wounds to help and heal others. And the more you're helping others is you're healing yourself, okay? And Venus here with love, you can be very hurt by a partner, and you want to see in what house it's in. Okay, like it's a second house, it could be financial. If it's the 8th house, it could be joint resources, joint finances, or it could also be an intimate situation. Or in some cases, it could be a bad investment. 9th house, you could be very hurt by a partner legally. 4th house, I'm really hurt with a home or with a family. 5th house, with children, right? Or creative projects, or even a romantic situation could be that too. 8th house can also be sexually, what else? So looking at the house it's in, 10th house could be your status. You're wounded by your status with love or money, right? 11th house because of a friend, right? A love because of a friend or something with a friend or a group or organization you're involved with. You have to look at the house it's in to understand where this wound would happen, right? So anyway, so you may feel hurt in your life by somebody or a financial thing or a romantic thing, and you may use these wounds to help others, and that's the way you're going to heal from this aspect, okay? All right, and here I'm going to change. See, right now, I'm going to show you what I did. I have Venus aspects to Saturn, but I put the planet. I'm going to put the symbol there because for you to look at it online, I want to make sure you know the symbol. Okay, here we go. I just want to make sure it looks like an H. Okay, that's Saturn. So Venus aspecting to Saturn can be difficult because, Venus aspects to Saturn, this includes a conjunction, especially the opposition, the square, are hard aspects. Trine or a sextile as well can lead to feeling, but more so, I'm going to say maybe the conjunction, the opposition, and the square mostly can more give you negative effects here. But this can make you feel like I don't deserve love, right? Or I feel like it's escaping me. I'm not getting what I want in the relationship. Maybe this is what I need to settle for. Maybe this is what I deserve. It can lead to a kind of a low self-esteem here a little bit, okay? But once you understand, what Saturn is really trying to teach you. I'll tell you what Saturn is trying to teach you here. Saturn is trying to teach you your worth and your value, right? Know your worth, know your value. When you're saying no, I'm no longer putting up with this, or that, and meaning it, say what you mean what you say, then Saturn is going to give you something long lasting, long term. So that's the thing. So let's say you're in a relationship that is really disrespectful, or that you're feeling that you're not getting what you're needing, or wow, I'm just dealing with this because maybe I don't feel I can get any better, or whatever it is, I feel stuck. Saturn is saying once you know your worth and your value, and you don't put up with whatever thing that you're upset about, and it's wrong, right? You just know it's difficult. You just know that this thing that this other person is doing is not okay. It's either the way they're treating you, the way they're talking to you, whatever it is, that you're putting up with it. Once you stand up and say, no, this is not okay, I'm not putting up with this, and meaning it, following through. Saturn is about following through, okay? So, and it's over time. So your love life may get better after 35, especially. But more so when you're younger, because you don't know all there is to know about yourself or your person, okay? So Venus aspect to Saturn can also bring you, especially if it's conjunct, a person who's older, especially for the conjunction, okay? Mature for their age, right? But it can also make you feel like Financially can also do this too. Your finances could get better with the conjunction over time, right? Um, but it can also make you feel lack of love. Like there's just no, I'm not feeling love here, or maybe you're feeling there's no respect there, right? Until you stand up and say, no, I'm moving on, I'm doing my thing, and meaning it and doing it, then universe will give you something that brings more security and stability into your life, right? Something long term. But there's a feeling of there's there's an element here of feeling like I don't deserve this, right? I don't deserve it. So this can be, and maybe you felt there was a lack of love in your life, maybe growing up or something. Saturn can also rule the father in a chart. So maybe you felt like a lack of love from the father, or maybe you felt like dad was always responsible for me, but he never really showed love. He was a bit cold. Venus aspects to Saturn can bring a coldness to love too. But my feeling, my thing here is understand that you deserve love. Know it and believe it. You deserve love, right? And once you know you deserve this and it comes to you, um, you know, stand your ground, and that's going to bring you what you're wanting. You're not always meant to live in lack, right? Lack of love. You're not meant to do that, right? But you keep yourself stuck with your thinking a little bit about I don't deserve it. Maybe I shouldn't get it. Maybe it shouldn't happen for me. But just know it will get better after 35 because Saturn rules time. You know, somebody could be also older than you that might bring you more love, mature for their age, right? Maybe they're on the cold side. Maybe they're not great at showing you sometimes, but this person could be something long term for you, right? All right. The same thing goes for if you have Venus in Capricorn. If you have Venus in Capricorn, um, now mind you, Venus in a woman's chart is how you flirt, right? So maybe you could appear a bit cold or very serious. This is I'm looking for the long time, not the good time, right? But Venus is also the way love plays out, right? So it could be that maybe until you're in your mid 30s, you get the love you're wanting. You know more about yourself, you know more about your partner, right? This could bring Venus in Capricorn can bring an older partner who's mature for their age. But a lot of the young ones, young people may think, well, how come I'm not meeting somebody? It means that your love life doesn't really rev up until you're after 35. You may feel, um, and it's also you got look at how you flirt, females. How do you flirt? Because Venus in Capricorn can be a little colder, maybe afraid to show emotion. Venus in Capricorn tends to be like, I compare it to men who have Mars in Capricorn, right? I bought you the house, I bought you the car, I love you. Maybe public displays of affection could be a little bit lacking here. Like, well, maybe the person's not so comfortable with kisses in public or, hugs and kisses, but they really do appreciate, um, you know, security and stability, right? So Venus in Capricorn can be an energy. If you're a female, maybe you flirt by showing your status because Capricorn can rule status, right? I bought my own house, I bought my own car, or I can provide. Maybe you're showing that, I'll show you what I've achieved and maybe what I can offer, right? But it's also the way love plays out. So maybe in your life, you will have status. You will have things in your life, right, to show status, right? But it happens later after 35. A partner may be more cold a little bit, but it doesn't mean there's no love there. Maybe, this partner is a good provider. It could be later in life, though, okay? All right. Venus aspecting Uranus, okay? And these are the glyphs. I have the symbols there. So Venus aspecting Uranus, this could lend a well, especially for the conjunction, Venus conjunct Uranus, love and or money could be very up and down. You may love a person who's very unconventional, right? Somebody who is goes to the beat of their own drum, somebody who's a humanitarian, somebody who is not really, is very Aquarian kind of, you know. You may like someone who's a little different, you know, eccentric. That can be it too. In the ways of making money, you know, there could be ups and downs with finances, but you may make money in a field that's very like aviation, internet, right? Um, this can also be somebody who's cutting edge, right? Somebody who's inventing something. Um, you know, are all the fields for Uranus. But I want to say, you know, there could be a lot of ups and downs in love, and maybe you or another person needs a certain amount of freedom when it comes into a relationship. Now, some of the jobs to make money would be a scientist, inventor, computer, astrologers, lab techs, electronics. Could be a way of bringing in some cash here. But now, if it's just, you know, let's say an opposition or a square, you know, even a sextile or a trine, it still gives this energy. But I want to say the opposition or the square could be more difficult. You know, you may be, maybe this person wants more time and space away. Maybe this person, and you're not liking it. Or maybe this person has that I could take you or leave you attitude. You know, oh, well, you know, they're a bit detached, right? That can be too. And that can lead to some problems. But understanding that in your life, now I'm going to tell you this, you yourself as a person can also be this way. I'm going to give you an example. I have Venus opposing my Uranus, right? And it's funny because I do make money in astrology, right? But you know, I do realize I have that energy about me. I have that, well, you know, I don't really want someone to act like they own me or possess me in any way. That makes me want to jump out the door. So if you yourself have Venus aspecting Uranus, there could be an element about you that makes you say, you know what? I am going to, you know, mind you, when I do these Venus aspects, it could be either affect feeling like this is you, or this could also be the partner you attract. But when you attract a partner, they often mirror you. So look, as when I'm giving you all these aspects, look at yourself and say, wow, do I possess this myself? Okay. So Uranus can give that detachment energy. You know, I could take it or leave it. Oh, well, okay. And if somebody tries to possess you, you really want your independence here, right? You don't want someone feeling like I own you. I got married to you. I got papers on you. I remember a long time ago in my 20s, I was married in my 20s. And I remember, and he was a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy. But I do remember him saying something after we got married. He said, and this stuck with me. I'm like, what? He was like, well, you're not leaving. I married you. I have the paper. We're married. And I said, as I choose to stay married, I can choose to get unmarried. You know, like that wasn't to me, feeling like somebody felt like they owned you. Like, well, you're not doing this because lots of luck with that. I'm thinking, no, you will never possess a person with Venus aspect to Uranus. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you think you own them, think again. That is the worst thing that you can do, is try to possess them or tell them, oh, you're not doing this, or you think you're doing that. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, trust me, they will find a way. And this could be a rebellious person too. Oh, you think so? I'll show you. Right? I mean, this could be a person who can be rebellious, like wanting their freedom, wanting their independence. And if you infringe on that freedom or independence, like you're not doing this, or I'm your husband, you're not doing this. Oh yeah, that chick is gone. She's gone. You know? Or the woman who says it to the husband, same thing. Oh, there's no boys' night no more. Oh, you're not doing boys' night. Oh man, she's toast. What do you mean I can't see my friends? Really? Uranus has a lot to do with friends too, you know, so it rules Aquarius. It's the ruler to Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about friends, groups, and organizations, right? And if somebody's saying to you, no more friends, you know, that's not going to work. But I will say, do not try to, if somebody has you or the person you're interested in has the aspect to Uranus, Don't try to possess them. They'll be out the door so fast your head will spin. So anyway, and they can have that I can take you or leave you attitude. And their whole thing is, I'm there because I want to be there, not because you're making me. But I also know I have the right to leave at any time whatsoever. And I will use that right. You know what I'm saying? I am here because I want to be, not because someone's making me or I have to, or you're demanding it. And don't be demanding. That's not, they don't work with that. No, they don't. Anyway, all right. So here we go. The same thing. Now I'm going to show you Venus and Aquarius. It's kind of the same. Venus and Aquarius. If you're a female, this could be hard to flirt. You could feel very awkward in flirting. You could come off weird. So my best advice is, if you're flirting and you have Venus and Aquarius and you're a girl, be friends first. It'll be less awkward. Be friends first. And the way love plays out, a friend is the person that you may end up with, right? The way love plays out is Venus in Aquarius needs to be really a friend first. It's hugely important, right? But love could be, this is the, I want my freedom in a relationship. I don't want to be owned or possessed, right? You know that song, You Don't Own Me. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to say. Let me be myself and don't put me on display. I'm young and I want to be young, and I'm free and I want to be free. Just let me live my life the way that that I want to say and please. It's just, I don't know all the words to the end of that song, but I have the gist, don't own me. So Venus and Aquarius, you don't want to be owned, and you don't own your partner. Okay. There's a certain amount of freedom that you're going to have in the relationship. And again, the same thing goes for the Leo rising. It's the same kind of thing, same kind of concept. You like your freedom. This is a person who loves friendships, groups, and organizations. They could be a rebel in love. Like, when someone says, oh, you're not going to do this because I said so, they're like, oh yeah, just watch. I'm going to defy you like no other. That could be, this could be, if, what else am I going to say here? The way love plays out, there could be a lot of ups and downs. And this could be not really respecting the fact that you or the other person needs a certain amount of freedom, and understanding that. Venus in Aquarius can also be the unconventional type of love, right? And Venus in Aquarius, Venus is also money. So we cannot forget the way you may make money. You can make money by being an advisor, consultant, philosopher, astrologers, engineers, computing, internet inventor, or an airline pilot, right? Those are just some fields. Those are just some. That's not all. I'm just giving you certain ones. But these are areas in which you may bring in money. But what else? You may have the breakup, makeup. And if you do have a lot of breakups and makeups in your life, think to yourself, okay, who needs more freedom here, and who's not giving the other person a certain amount of space? You may have an unconventional love. We live in different houses, but we see each other every day. Or we live in the same house and I don't see him every day. We see each other 3 days a week. I don't know what it is. We don't want to get married. We just want to live together. There's an unconventionality here that needs to be maybe accepted, and it works for you. It works for you, Maybe you just can't be with someone 24/7. You need your space to do your thing, whatever your thing is. But these people do not want to be owned or possessed. That's the big thing. All right. All right. So let's see. Venus aspects to Pluto. Venus aspects to Pluto. Now, especially Venus conjunct Pluto. Ava! Slow. Can you turn it down? Thank you. Venus aspects to Pluto, especially, let's talk about the conjunction, right? This could be a very deep, intense, passionate love that will happen in your life, right? But you need to be careful of power struggles and power plays. Possessiveness, controlling, manipulation are all, things you need to look at. Is this person, operating from the Scorpion or the Phoenix rising above the ashes? Venus conjuncting Pluto could be, you may have to transform yourself when a relationship will be very transformative in your life. Definitely. Right. There could be, I want to say when it's good, but when it can suck, it can suck. I'm not going to lie, right? There's an element of being rebirthed. All the, like, the relationship dies and then all of a sudden it's reborn again, right? So there could be a lot of transformative energy with Venus aspecting Pluto, right? Now I want to say, you want to look at the square or the opposition. This can also lend to the trine or the sextile too, but the square and the opposition would be more difficulty, I want to say. The conjunction maybe too, depending on the aspects as well. You want to be careful that you're not possessive or controlling with a partner, right? And this is that feeling of, I want this intensity so much. This is so intense, right? I mean, you could really draw in somebody like moths to a flame with Venus to Pluto, right? There's a lot of intensity with you, passion and alluring energy, right? But you want to be careful that this passion doesn't turn into possessive, controlling, manipulation, and power struggles and power plays. You want to be very careful of this, even with money. And especially if you have the Venus conjunct Pluto. Let's talk about it, money, right? Wise. Pluto can bring money through research, investigators, insurance, death-related, longevity-related, technology, espionage, psychologists, metaphysics, and private investigator. A researcher, or somebody who's, like those. If you're in medicine, let's say, depending on other aspects of your chart, Pluto can bring looking at something from beneath the surface. Like, let's say you're an X-ray tech, or you do the ultrasounds, or you're the person who, sometimes a surgeon can have this too, because you're looking underneath, right? Something. So anyway, and very much so, what do you call it? Psychiatrists, psychologists can have this too, right? There could be an element of me and you against the world, right? I want it, you and me against the world, but I don't want anybody else involved in our love, right? And that's impossible. You can't hide your partner in a house and say, I don't want anyone near you. You're mine. You got to be careful of that, right? So when love is good, it's good. But when it sucks, it can suck. You want to be careful not to, like I said, not to get into power struggles and power plays with your person. Okay. So there's that. Let's go to the next one. Venus in Scorpio, which is kind of like Venus and Pluto. Venus in Scorpio or in the 8th house. When Venus is in Scorpio, again, love is good. When it sucks, it sucks. This is the same thing as Venus aspecting Pluto, especially conjunction. You want to make sure that you're not involved with somebody who's possessive, controlling, manipulative, or you're operating from power struggles and power plays, I want to say your sex life could be transformative, right? This could be a lot of a relationship definitely in your life will transform you as a person, but there's a lot of intensity in the relationship too, right? So you're feeling like, I want to see sex could be, Venus and Scorpio people tend to know their person from the inside out, right? I want to get to know you from the inside out, right? Meaning, and the same thing with Venus and Pluto. Venus is conjuncting Pluto especially. I want to get to know you from the inside out. So it's kind of like knowing someone through sex, all the secrets come out, right? And they really can attract people like moths to a flame. There's that seductive nature that they have naturally. And they use this to attract a person, and that person becomes addicted almost in a sexual way. The same thing with Venus conjunction to Pluto, right? Aspecting can be the same, but I feel most with the conjunction. Venus in Scorpio or in the 8th house, love can be transformative for you, changes you. But it can also, you got to be careful you're not attracted to the drama of the love and the relationship, right? Because Scorpio can bring drama, so can Pluto, right? And power struggles and power plays. And you have to ask yourself, am I behaving like the phoenix rising above the ashes in the relationship? Or am I the scorpion? Don't get mad, get even, right? Subversive tactics, Am I using subversive tactics in the relationship? And this could even be money. Am I using subversive tactics, being manipulative with money? You got to be careful with that too. Now, Venus in Scorpio can also be, and I'm sorry to say, making money in the underground, like a drug dealer. Okay, so you want to be careful of that too, right? But this main thing is intensity. That's transformative. It can borderline possessive, controlling, manipulation. You're mine. Nobody else will have you. Bullshit. So be careful of this. Just saying. It can be very transformative and very beautiful and very intense too, depending on other aspects you have going in your chart. But everybody's going to be different. All right. Venus aspects to Neptune, right? So Venus aspects to Neptune can bring, you want to make sure you may fall in love, especially with the conjunction to Neptune, but we're looking at the trine and the sextile can be too, but it's difficult aspects would be the opposition and the square, right? Sometimes the conjunction too. You got to be careful that you're not going to, now if you're flirting, let's say if a girl is flirting, right? She may show a spiritual or creative side to herself, but she can also show the side of herself that's all about drugs and alcohol. Okay? And so that's not good. A girl flirting can also show that she loves romance. She's in love with love. She's in love with romance. She likes spirituality. She's creative. She loves all the romantic shows, right? And sometimes the fantasy could be better than the reality, right? So in some aspects, Venus has, especially Neptune and the Pisces, right, has these octaves, a high octave and a low octave. It just depends on how somebody's using it. So however you're using it in your chart, you got to be careful that you're not attracting somebody. Usually your partner is a mirror to you. Okay, so let me drink something because I'm parched. Usually your partner is a mirror to you. So if you're getting wasted, you may attract somebody who gets wasted, right? If you're, you may love, you got to be careful here. This is an energy of don't try drugs because you could get addicted. Venus could love the chemical feeling of whatever substance, drink, whatever it is. They could love it, right? But they could also be the type of person who loves church. They love to go to church, or maybe they feel rejuvenated or energized from church, like they just feel good. This could also be creativity. They just they love going outside painting. They love maybe doing music, right? This is something, and they could be, depending on how the chart looks, some people with Neptune could be prodigies and make money through this stuff, But anyway, there's a high octave and a low octave of Neptune. So the difficult aspect here is any kind of drug or things like this, or feeling duped or lied to by a lover. Neptune can rule deception, illusion, delusion, and deception and betrayal that way, right? Feeling deceived. And now this could be financially too. You need to make sure if you have Venus aspecting Neptune, anything financial, you may want to have a lawyer look it over, because somebody could dupe you and you don't see it. It's in the fine print. You don't see it, then you feel effed over when it comes to your money. Venus is also money. Now, Venus here could be, you can make money through photography, movies, marine, oils, pharmaceuticals, psychics, poets, creative, or spiritual fields. You could be a pharmacist with this Venus conjunct Neptune. But you want to make sure you don't love the chemicals, so you do them yourself. You gotta be careful. But you could make money being an artist or musician as well here, right? Something artsy, creative, or you could even make money being a preacher, right? Because Neptune is also spirituality, right? You could fall in love with a preacher. You could fall in love with somebody who's part of the church. I remember being a kid and watching Thornbirds. You remember that movie with Thornbirds? It's about a priest who falls in love with a girl and he can't get married to her because he's a priest. And I thought, why can't you get married to a priest? And I'm like, if they're supposed to be the best person on the world, like if they're supposed to be, my mentality was, if they're supposed to be good, following the commandments, right? They're not supposed to lie and cheat. They're supposed to be faithful. And if you think, if they're following all those commandments, Wouldn't that be somebody you would want to marry, right? But anyway, some people could fall in love with a preacher or a deacon or somebody like this, right? And sometimes it could be a priest, somebody you can't have, because Neptune rules the 12th house. You could fall in love with somebody who's unavailable in some way, physically or emotionally, something there you need to be careful of. Because again, Neptune rules the 12th house of the hidden. Some of you may keep a relationship hidden too if Venus is in the conjuncting Neptune, but mostly if it's in the 12th house, and we'll talk about that next. So Venus aspecting. So I think pretty much, let's talk about the next one, Venus in the 12th house, okay? All right. Venus and Pisces are in the 12th house, okay? The same thing applies with Venus aspecting Neptune. The same applies. But I want to say, especially if Venus is in the 12th house, it's in a hidden place. So this could be falling in love with either you're very, very secretive about your love life, right? Or this can be you, I don't know. It can falling in love with someone who's not physically available or emotionally unavailable, right? So especially the 12th house, okay? Not always Venus in Pisces is going to be somebody unavailable, but it could be. You could fall in love with love. I love romance. I love the romantic movies. The fantasy is better than the reality, though, right? So you want to be careful of that. But Venus in the 12th house can be unavailable people. It can be a secret clandestine, like an affair. You're secretive about love. You're being deceptive with love. Sometimes it could be an affair. So you have to be careful of that. And it doesn't matter in any sign. I'm going to tell you this about Venus in the 12th house. It doesn't matter. No. Oh, you're okay. It doesn't matter the sign it's in. The fact that it's in the 12th house, there's this secretiveness with money or love. There could be unavailable, being in love with someone who's not available. And there could be, maybe someone secretive about like an affair situation, right? That can be too. There can also be a person with Venus in the 12th house who's very secretive about their sexuality. Okay. I don't want people to know I am blah, blah, blah. Right. And nowadays, everybody's got a definition. I mean, back in my day, there was like, it's so complicated now. But yeah, people could be very secretive about whatever their orientation is. Okay. Venus in Pisces could be the most romantic sign. This could be a person who gives you, if you're a woman and you're flirting, the same thing with Venus and Neptune. It's the same energy. You could be very romantic, wanting to do the strawberries and the whipped cream and the petals in the bathtub and the candles. You could be very romantic. And you could love romantic movies. You could like a partner who's romantic, but also there's the element of somebody who is chemically dependent. Be careful of any kind of chemical dependency with a partner, drugs or alcohol, or somebody who is, sometimes it could be somebody who's unavailable. But this could also be a person, spiritual, right? I like somebody who's very spiritual and religious, right? Or very creative, right? The way love plays out. So Venus and Pisces could play out really two different ways: a very romantic spiritual connection, or a very private and secretive connection. Or this could be somebody where there's a lot of drugs and alcohol involved and it's just deceptiveness. So you have to look at the aspects to your chart too, right? But again, that 12th house is what's hidden. So if Venus is in the 12th, doesn't matter what sign, there's something secretive or very private going on in regards to love. Something could be very hidden. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you in understanding the astrology and difficult relationships and how to overcome them, right? This first step is understanding it and knowing it. Oh, I understand that I keep attracting this type. And you have to look at yourself too when you say, when I was young, I'm a Virgo rising. I used to say, well, why am I doomed? Why do I keep attracting these people with freaking problems? What the hell, And, I remember there was one guy I really, really liked. And it seemed that his family knew he had a chemical problem and I did not. And his father introduced me to him. And his father felt like I was really, really good for his son, right? And I liked his son. I mean, I really didn't set out to date him. I just wanted to be his friend first, which is weird because I do have my Mars is in Aquarius and I have Venus opposing Uranus. Anyway, things were great until we went to a party. And it's like, I'm like, how did you get smashed? We've only been here a half an hour. Like, what the hell, right? And I talked to his dad, and I would talk all the time. Like, he's like, how are things going, right? Like, his father knew, and I think he thought that because I was so straight laced, I think he thought that I would make him straight laced. I don't know what he thought, but I really liked his parents a lot. Like, I really liked his parents, but you know, I said, what was happening? And he goes, oh my gosh, that was a fear of mine. I'm like, what was a fear of yours? What are you talking about? He has a problem. I have to look in his bag and see if he has anything on him. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I was like, and it really made me feel like, why is this happening to me? You know, I really like this person now, and now he's like, and I told him, I gave him an ultimatum because I said, look, if you do this, you know, you're doing these things, and his father found some stuff. So I'm like, if you do this, I'm not going to stay with you. No. And he says, okay. You know, and he did it again. And I'm like, I cannot do this, you know. As much as I liked him, my Venus opposed Uranus, you know, and my Mars in Aquarius turned off that like a switch because I thought, wow, I can't do this. Either he's going to have to fix himself because, and I also said, and he was already in therapy for this, and I did not know that, you know, I did not know he was in therapy for that at that time. I found out later, but it made me feel like, wow, you know, I can't change him. I can't, but he was a good person. I really enjoyed, we had a lot in common, like so much in common. And we had so much fun together. No matter what we did, we just had a great time, just spending time with each other, you know, and that was nice. But, I noticed a pattern in my life. I kept attracting, and I'm a Virgo rising. I kept attracting Pisces energy. Not the creative spiritual ones. I mean, sometimes I had one guy pretend like he was spiritual and everything, but it was a big freaking lie. Oh, I go to church, you know, meanwhile, I find that he's doing drugs. You know, what the hell's your problem? What is your problem? Why are you doing, you know, yeah. And he was always asking for money. And then I would give him sometimes. And I'm like, why is he always broke? And I'm like, you know, I'm a single female. I don't need help being broke. I could be broke all on my own. And finally I said, I'm not giving you any more money. Sorry. I was like, done. But I saw a pattern. It's because I have Pisces on the 7th house. I meant to be of service, but you have to pick what person are you going to be of service to? You know, like after a while, it could be enabling. You have to be with Pisces energy. Sometimes you if you don't want to be an enabler, especially with somebody with an addiction, you're going to have to be like, what do they call that? Tough love. Yeah. And so anyway, there was that going on. So I can see, and I felt doomed for a long time until I realized, okay, you're always going to find people who need help in some way. It's just, you know, and it wouldn't matter to me, especially, but if the person was working on getting the help, if they were really working on changing the behavior, that's the difference. But if you have somebody who really won't even admit they have an issue, that's a problem too. Anyway, I just thought this video could be helpful to others going through a difficult time. And not always are you, and also my Venus is conjunct Chiron. So yes, in the 8th house, which is the worst house ever to be wounded by. And I can't legally get into how I was wounded in that area of my life, but it was unbelievably bad. And I, you know, freaking court, and it was just awful. And yeah, that Chiron is no joke in your 8th house, conjunct your Venus. Yep. So I'm just telling you, those of you who have that, I empathize, and you're going to use those wounds to help others in some way, shape, or form in your lifetime. You know, helping others. And that's helping others somehow helps you heal yourself. But I'm going to tell you, wherever you have Chiron in your chart is like a gaping hole. You never really heal from it. Now, my Chiron's in the 8th house too. And I'll be honest, Venus is also those who you love, right? And I've had people pass away in my life that was really devastating to me, that I really never totally got over. But for specifically a partner did something that was so awful, unbelievably awful, that no matter, you know, it topped what anybody could have ever done to hurt me in my life. Like, you know, even I told you that guy who had a drug issue, you know, I could forgive a lot, you know, but this was like so unforgivable. Yeah. I'm like, you know, and I know God says you have to forgive in order to, I'm working on it, but I can't do it. I'm telling you, it's just so damn difficult. And it's funny because I'm having my Chiron return right now, which is making me talk about it probably. But anyway, I'm just saying, it's, you know, sometimes you got to look at where your aspects are, and you got to understand sometimes what you're dealing with, and to understand how to overcome. You know, that's really helpful in astrology. At least it was for me, and I hope it is for you. But anyway, if you want a personal reading from me, the links are below to my website. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And I hope this was helpful. I'll talk to you soon, and have a good one. Bye-bye.